Hershey Podcast. I'm Brandon.
And I'm January.
Hello.
Hi.
Fancy seeing you here.
In our favorite chairs facing each other.
Yes.
Yes. It's a miracle. We're alone.
We are, but the clock is ticking, I'm sure.
All right, so let's just get right into it then.
Let's do.
So if you listened to last week's podcast, not last week, to our last podcast, it would be nice if it was last week because that means we'd be doing them regularly again.
Our last episode.
The last episode with Nicole Streeter from Laurel and Fig, then you know that we talked about postpartum. And I'm happy to announce that we'll be having a follow-up podcast episode coming soon, where we get a little bit deeper into it. But I wanted to ask you, when you were listening to it and editing it, what your favorite part was.
My favorite part was the cold opening. That was awesome. I liked it.
That was funny. You're talking about doing that where it's like the cold opening, like The Office, you know, when they like show a scene and then you're just like, what? And then it goes away to the intro music. I feel like that's how my whole life is, just cold openings.
Yeah. It's like you walk downstairs.
Onslaught. You're like, I know when I walked up the stairs it was clean, and now I walked down the stairs and it's like Tasmanian devils have. It's like a Jumanji, but not the new Jumanji, the old one with Robin Williams where they're stampeding through the house. Yeah. Anyways, well, I'm happy to say that I'll be doing the follow-up podcast with Nicole from Laurel and Fig, and also that Laurel and Fig is today's podcast episode sponsor. And
awesome. For
those of you who've been listening along or check them out on Instagram or laurelandfigco.com, right?
Yes.
Yes. I'm proud of myself remembering. Her main focus and mission is to bring items and love and support and inspiration to pregnant and postpartum and new mamas. So you guys know that I love Laurel and Fig t-shirts. They're some of my favorite t-shirts. And I just found out this week that the t-shirts are now in a store. I didn't tell you this, but
oh, no, I didn't know
a local store in Stoughton, Wisconsin called Dune. It's actually where I got my titty poster.
Okay.
You just looked over it. It's not on the nightstand anymore.
It's not. What happened to it?
Well, sometimes I go through a little minimalist.
Oh, okay.
Like rampage, or is that what you call? I mean, just gotta put everything away and clear everything and make everything look neater and nicer to help calm my mind. So it's been put away with everything else on the dresser. But yes, I've been to Dune earlier this year, and it's a great store. And I got a titty poster, variations of normal, boobs. My kids have all rolled their eyes at me and laughed at me about it. But anyways, they're carrying Laurel and Fig t-shirts. So her t-shirts are great. But then, of course, the postpartum box is the heart and soul and the real just mission behind Laurel and Fig and supporting them. There's so many great products in it. And you guys need to go check it out. Go to laurelandfigco.com. If you want to try anything from a t-shirt to one of the, oh my gosh, I love their tumblers because my ice stays ice for like hours and hours and hours, or the postpartum box for yourself or a friend, you can use the code January for 10% off. So check them out. And yeah, let's get into today's episode while we're on this ticking time clock of kids that will need us for something.
All right. Well, you're done with events. So what's next, January?
Shut up. So you may wonder why he's teasing me right now with his horribly bad dad joke voice, but I've been asked this a lot. So as I was wrapping up events this year, I'm officially done with traveling and doing birth out fear events. And I can't say it's bittersweet because I think it's just time. It's just good. But the number one thing people have been asking me is, so what are you going to do now? And I've sat with this because I'm not offended by the question at all, but I have found it fascinating that people asking me this, and most people know that we've had a lot to unpack, process, and heal from with our mental health the last few years. They know that I am a mother to 6 children. They know that we homeschool. And then on top of that, I'm still running social media accounts and working with sponsors. And we opened a new business a few months ago, a chiropractic office, which we'll talk about more.
Yes, we did.
And so we've opened a new business, which if you haven't owned a business, I couldn't even, that's not even a podcast episode. That's a whole book. I mean, the amount of energy, time, stress, excitement, fears, financial worry, everything involved in that is so much. And then people ask me what else I'm going to do on top of all that. And I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, let's just pause and think about that for a second. So you have a woman who is a mom of 6 kids, is still working, even though self-employed, has opened a business with her husband's chiropractor, is homeschooling her children. And we're asking her, what are you going to do now that you're done with this part of your life or career or whatever it is? So for me, it's these events and nothing. I'm not even going to give you any suspense here, folks. Nothing. I'm going to do nothing to fill the space of doing events, because the whole reason why I've worked my ass off the last 3 years to transition out of these events is because I don't want to fill that time, energy, or space with something as demanding and difficult as what I did. So my answer to anyone wondering what I'm going to do now to fill the time and space and energy with the events is absolutely fucking nothing. The only thing that could possibly, that I'm going to do next is rest more. I need rest. My body needs to heal. My mind needs to heal. My heart needs to heal. You know, I've talked a little bit more openly recently about just what it has cost to do the work that I've done. And now I'm going to give a little bit of that back to me. So that's it. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do next. I want to rest and I want to create. You know, I feel like we have been stuck in survival mode, panic mode, what do we do next mode, and definitely that left brain mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a right-brained individual. And so to have to sit and work in and be obsessed with the left brain. And this happens when you turn a passion into a business. And that's not talked about a lot. You know, it's like, oh, you know, do what you love and you'll never work another day in your life. Bullshit. You'll work more than you've ever worked in your life. You will work more than you've ever worked in your life when you turn a passion into a business. And there's pros to it and there's definite cons to it. And we don't talk about that a whole lot, and how you take something, especially if you're a creative or you're an artist in any way, or a healer or anything in that kind of a genre, which is very right brain, intuition, you know, instinctive, all this stuff. And then you turn it into a business, which is very left brain. It changes the whole thing. And then when your well-being and your finances are dependent now on your passion or something that you love to do or a hobby you loved, you find yourself being way more in the left brain than the right brain. And it starts to deplete you and burn you out, and resentment. And so, like I've said before, there's no such thing as a perfect balance, but that's going to be different for everyone. So for me, I need to stop traveling. I need to stop being away from my family. I don't want to replace that with anything unless it's going to be something where I'm using my right brain.
Very well said. I think the thing is not only are we a lot of times stuck in our left brain, but also we're in a sympathetic state. We're in a fight or flight mode. So we're only using our logical reasoning, you know, business type of mind to do things. And also we're very reactive to the various stressors we have in our life, whether it's finances or maybe there's some family issues or whatever it is. There is not a whole lot of parasympathetic nervous system, right brain activity going on. And I think that's the big thing is, for me, I've really jumped into using my right brain a lot more in the last 3, 4, 5 months. And I'm doing a lot more drawing than I've done in many years, and playing the guitar. And I've been working on a manuscript that I've been writing. So I've definitely been diving into that right brain, and it's been really nice. And it's almost like a breath of fresh air. And it does calm me down because you're relying on your creativity and your instincts and just going with that, as opposed to having to direct and control every thought and action. It's just a lot more peaceful to just let creativity flow. And it's been great for me. I've been loving it. So
yeah, and it's going to be so different for everyone at different seasons in their lives. And that might sound overwhelming. This might seem like big and overwhelming, but the same thing when we talk about self-care, right? Like, we all, it's going to be different for everyone. And then even for each person, it's going to be different in every single season. So this is going to be different in every season as well. But we live in a society of glorifying busy. We glorify busy and hustling, right?
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with being busy or hustling. I mean, many of us have to just to eat or pay the rent or whatever it is. But when, again, we get stuck in that mode, that's going to stick you into that sympathetic mode. And you're just going to be constantly go, 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 busy, 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 hustle, hustle, hustle. And it actually starts to really feed our ego, is what ends up happening. And I remember somebody said that to me a long time ago, and I made jokes about it for years about feeding my ego, but it's true. And it pulls us so far away from the creativity that put us in this place where we wanted to hustle to do this thing that we loved, I think a lot of us find ourselves like, wait a second, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be and exactly what I wanted to do. And so you have to step back and kind of look at that and what it is that you're really wanting. And I have found that these days with social media, and it's amazing. You can get on, you have a free platform, you can use your voice, you can create a business, you can earn an income. It's incredible. But I do know that so many of us get pulled away from what truly brings us peace and makes us feel centered and safe and loved and a true happiness, not just a dopamine rush of happiness, right? Like a yummy rainbow donut, that's how it is. And so kind of pulling back from that and what you really want. And I find for me, I figure it out mostly with meditation and with talking to you. I was actually telling Brandon the other night, I was in the bath, we were talking, and I was like, yeah, I see so many people that are journaling, and I see these, psychologists with their big accounts, and they're always talking about journaling and future self journaling, all these things. And I said, I realized that we're each other's journal. Like we journal basically verbally with each other constantly. I think that's really special, like to have that.
Yeah. And oral history.
And oral history.
Those tend to be the big thing you see a lot in the internet lately.
Well, and storytelling and talking and processing, like it's all really important things. That's why we need people in our lives that we feel safe to do that with.
Yeah.
So for me, I find when I am really confused, especially it's going to be different stuff for all of us, but for me, especially with that work versus mom balance, I'm using air quotes and rolling my eyes, balanced life, is I start getting like overwhelmed and confused. And how much should I work on this versus how much should I pull back to be with my kids? And it's meditating. It's getting really still and really silent. And
Yep.
Your gut's already telling you, what you need to do or whatnot, but that doesn't make it easy. So the transition we've been in the last few years to get back to using more of our right brain than our left brain and having more time and rest. I feel like time has a high value at this point for me. And,
yes,
and energy has a high value. Like it's very easy for me to get tired, fatigued, not get enough rest. So for me, rest and my time hold a very high price point, and I'm no longer willing to give that away to make a quick buck or to be on social media for 12 hours to promote something new. Like it's not worth it to me. Like I will shop at the dollar store and not Whole Foods. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, moms do need more rest. I mean, moms have given birth to, I can't even imagine the kind of stress that is on
and
on
moms
the
get the
body.
least rest.
I know.
It's like a conundrum, this ironic conundrum that we're all stuck in.
Yeah. It you're right.
You're right too. Oh my God, that's so funny. And to go back to what you were saying though, where you have found that you've been using your right brain and being more creative the last few months, which you have, I feel like you definitely tampered that down over the years. Like you tapped into it just enough to use it for what you need it to, whether it be for the kids or to write on something or work on a project or chiropractic, but just enough because, that left brain took over for you so intensely that to the point where if anything was out of place, it would set you on edge because you had stepped so far away from just the creativity and the flow process of life that it felt like you start feeling like everything needs to be controlled and you need to have this and you need to have that in order to just be able to breathe and enjoy your day. But you're not really enjoying your day because you're so stuck in this, And I have found that it's almost like Sometimes I watch you playing the guitar and I feel like I'm watching the kid Brandon just enjoy being again, enjoy being alive and playing music and just being, talking and hanging out. And, it's been very healing for you to step a little bit out of that sympathetic left brain mode into that parasympathetic right brain mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very healing.
Well, because growing up, my parents were not very successful financially at all, so I always wanted to be successful. And so, I read a lot of self-help, personal development, success business books. I mean, I've read hundreds and hundreds of these types of books over the years. And when you do creative things, a lot of times it can appear or come across as childish, or maybe so I thought. That's probably my faulty thinking. And so we started having a family young, and I just felt like I had to have a career and earn money to provide for our family.
And you do, right? So that's fair. Like
we do.
We do.
I just did that and only that. And, I went to school and became a chiropractor and businessman, all that stuff. And I hardly did any drawing. And that's all I did as a kid. I drew. And I went to animation school when we were early on in our relationship. And we got married while I was in animation school, actually.
That's right.
Yeah. And so
wow.
I went so far from one way to the complete opposite. And it's been nice actually balancing the two now, because I'm using a lot of my creativity with the practice and a lot of the marketing I'm doing and the stuff I'm doing on the website. But I'm also getting back into drawing. I'm always playing the guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just played it the last few hours, actually,
yeah.
while I was reading.
I know my fingers are telling me I played about 3 straight hours.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, I've written 3 new songs in the past week.
That's awesome.
So I haven't done a whole lot with my creativity the first half of my life. So the second half of my life, I want to really dive into that and do something with it. Because I believe I can. I believe I have enough talent to do something.
So to balance that left brain, I believe you can too. So to balance that left and right brain is like, it always comes back to mindfulness. Like when you said like you're working in the office and you're doing your social media or you're doing your marketing, like you have boundaries around that. You only work on it in the office. You don't work on it at home. You shut it down and you walk away. You have boundaries now with yourself because, again, we can't all shirk our responsibilities, right? We have to take care of what we have to take care of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we all have goals and dreams and things we're working towards. So it's not a matter of not doing those things anymore. But like you said, don't only be in that mode and only do those things. So if nothing's exciting you when you're waking up in the morning, or you're not looking forward to anything, or things aren't making you laugh, or you don't get flutters in your tummy when you get to do something, or you don't have anything on the schedule you're looking forward to. And I'm, by the way, giving all these examples from personal experience.
Yeah.
Then it's time to step back and look at how much you're in this survival or sympathetic, stressful left brain mode. And I know not all that always goes hand in hand, but for many of us it does, so how can you pull in the other and do both? So what are some tips that you have to help tap into that creative right brain mind again? For me, like I said, meditation is a big one, but what are some tips you have to work on that?
I know a lot of people listening, they may, maybe they're new moms or they have new babies and older kids. And so, there's always that thought, well, I have no time. Well, if you look into time management, there is always a way to find some kind of time. There just is. And I don't know how you go about doing it. And that's, if you're listening, that's for you to sit down and look at your day and your schedule and figure out what works and what doesn't, maybe where you could allot some different time for yourself. But that is my personal suggestion, is just really look at your time and figure out a way to block off some time for yourself.
Yeah, that's a good idea. If you sat down and wrote down what you did every day in 15 to 30 minute increments, you'd realize a few things. I think for a lot of you, you'd realize how much you really do in a day. We're very hard on ourselves and we think we're not doing enough. We think, oh, I'm so lazy. I got nothing done. I didn't do X, Y, Z. But if you actually write down everything you're doing, especially parents listening, you'll realize, holy shit, like I am doing a lot. The second thing you're going to realize that you really do have that time, that you're either scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or looking up news sites or on Twitter, reading through celebrity or political drama, whatever, you'll realize you do have a lot of time. And I was the queen of I'm busy for many years. And even since I let that go, I've still been on social media a lot. I've been working a lot. I've been, I was building a brand and a business and promoting a book. But since I've pulled back and been a lot more diligent and mindful about it, I find that I actually have quite a bit of time during the day. And that's why I'm saying now my time and my peace come at a very high price point, and I'm not willing to budge much at all for anyone.
No,
family, strangers on the internet, work, anyone, to mess with that, because I know how valuable it is. But I read, some days I'll read a few hours a day. Other days I have to wait till the end of the day, depending on what we have going on. But I read more now, and we just rest more now. I sit on the patio and talk with the kids, like I'm cooking more again, and like just really kind of finding that good flow for me and my ebb and flow for mommy, plus still, working a bit. I think something to mention, especially to parents listening, is you may not even know what would bring you that kind of peace or creativity, because what you like to do before kids may not be the same thing now. It may not bring you the same joy. It may or may not. You just have to get back into it. But whether that's like music or sports or whatever it is, but you might have to kind of play around and try a few things, or, try some old things and see what you think. And I had to realize that it's okay if what makes me excited to wake up in the morning is I'm going to get to read a cool book or watch a cool show. Like, it doesn't have to be anything more wild. It doesn't have to be anything wild. Just some simple things I enjoy doing in my life, and realizing I now have the time and energy to do those things.
I think a lot of people would love to be in that position, and it's hard to get there, but it's possible. And I think you're a definite example that you can actually live a life that you have designed, but all with intention. And you and I have talked about our lives going in this direction for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
Finally going that way, and it's going exactly as you have manifested during our talks.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's very cool.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we were talking about this the other day, and I told you that I kind of had a small realization. It was a big realization to me, but that, when we talk about manifesting things, or speakers or people you follow talk about manifesting things, it's always surrounded by, manifesting the life you want. But then it's very heavily focused on, having millions of dollars and, having all the newest things and gadgets and accessories and, just very material, but a lot of,
sports cars,
I'm
islands.
generalizing, but that's a lot of what you see when people talk about manifesting.
Right.
And when I started talking a little bit more openly about the transition we were working towards, people are like, well, why are you doing that? You could do this. You could write another book. You could do this event. You could do that event. You could do a subscription website. You could do this. You can do that. All of these things, totally well-intentioned, but it's like people weren't hearing me about what I wanted. The only thing people were seeing was what they wanted for me, or what they would want, what they think they would want if they were me, instead of listening to what I'm actually telling you right now what I want, and you're responding to me that I shouldn't want that. And so I have been manifesting a more peaceful, relaxed, slowed down, simple, minimalist life for myself the last few years, and working really fucking hard towards that, and pulling you along, kicking and screaming. If I'm going to be honest right now, you can leave that in, but that's what I've been manifesting, and that is happening. So I've been manifesting something that feels different than what people think I should be manifesting. And I had to really dig my heels in and continue to go back to that meditation and that being that silent space of, no, I know what I want. Even though everyone else is telling me I should want this or I should want that or I should do this or I should do that, or if they were me, they would do this. All that's great for you. But this is what I want. And it's okay for me to manifest this kind of a life for myself. Again, I've had to handle the responsibilities of that for that transition, and it's been incredibly difficult, but it's been worth it because now I'm feeling like I can slip more into exactly what I've been manifesting. And it is awesome to finally feel it starting to come to fruition on a day-to-day basis. And I'll tell you, it has been an incredibly overwhelming journey. Overwhelming is a good word. And so I have days where I'm like, this is amazing. Is this really like a glimpse of my new normal? And then I have other days of, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, you need to do that, right? And it takes a little bit longer and a little bit more work to bring myself back to, no, this is what you really want. And there's other days where I just sit with it and tell myself, you deserve to be happy. And you don't have to want what everybody else wants. And this is what you wanted. And you're allowed to change your mind, but you're allowed to enjoy this.
You are.
I am.
Very wise words.
Are they? It's not just the tired ramblings of a mom.
Well, it could be.
But you know what? Everyone
they seem
listening,
like wise, tired ramblings.
Well, I'm pretty sure most people listening are fluent in tired ramblings of a mom. So it's a language we all speak.
Yeah. I think that's the audience of this podcast.
Oh, my goodness.
Is tired rambling parents.
Tired rambling parents. Yes. I just hope that something we've talked about today has just clicked or resonated, or maybe will get you thinking over the rest of the day or this week, or open some conversations with your partner or friend, and just to kind of think about, what's going on in your life and what you like about it and what you don't, and then what you want, how you want it to look different, and also you don't have to want what everyone else wants or everyone thinks you should want. I think it's really important because I think many of us get to our 30, like 40, and we're like, wait a minute, what life am I living right now? I don't think that's a unique situation. I think that's actually common. And it's because we've just been checking all the boxes through our 20s and even our 30s, and you get 35, 40, 45, and you're like, what? I checked all these boxes for who? Right? So I'm not even going to make a new boxes. I'm just going to bust out of this box and I'm going to make my own fucking box with lots of doorways to change my mind.
There you go.
Let me take you down the rabbit hole of January's mind.
I would say pay attention to how much you scroll each day. And I bet you could replace 30 minutes of scrolling with 30 minutes of drawing or painting or playing the piano or whatever other creative activity you may enjoy.
Going for a walk, sitting outside.
Or meditating, just something along those lines.
Dancing with music on around your house.
Yeah, there you go. That's creative.
Reading a book, sitting still, taking a bath. I mean, a million things. And let me just say this. Not everything you do or create has to be for financial gain.
Nope.
I'm going to say it again. Not everything you do and create has to be for financial gain. I think that's really important to say because we live in a time that tells us otherwise. You don't have to influence shit. You don't have to be an influencer. You don't have to earn, if you want to, I will be behind you, clapping for you and supporting you, lifting you up, but you don't have to. And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Just because you should do something doesn't mean you can. Nope. It was the other way.
Just because you can do something doesn't mean
That's
you should.
Okay. Just edit out the other stuff I said. You better. You're not.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
That's my cue. Then it seems like my rambling on this topic is done. So, do you have anything else to add to it? Any parting words of wisdoms or tips? Because you have a lot of experience with this, and
I do, but I will save that for later episodes.
What? You're gonna leave?
You'll have to stay tuned for more.
You're so full of shit. You're just done.
I am a little hungry.
Okay. All right, you guys. So I hope that this inspires some conversation and inspiration for your daily life and what you have going on. So until next time.
Adios.
Love ya.